Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Handhelds. I'm Joey, and today we're going to be doing a re-review of the Miyoo A30. I say re-review because I already reviewed this device at launch, and it's gone through quite a transformation since then thanks to the community, and so we're here to look at it from a new, fresh set of eyes. Now, if you recall from my first review, I said at the end that if this got Onion OS or any other type of operating system or firmware, that I would re-review it because reviewing it at launch was just a waste of my time. The launch state of this handheld was just atrocious, and there's no other way to put it. And my device wasn't a dud. I ended up getting a second one, which is this one, had all the same issues as the first one. So no, wasn't a device problem. And so in that review, it was pretty scathing. I went on the attack against Miyoo for wasting my time with a device that just shouldn't have been released in that state. And Miyoo took offense to that, so much so that they tried to take that review down, but that's not going to happen. Maybe put some effort into the actual device instead of trying to go after the reviewers that are reviewing your device. But you're also welcome for that review because it helped, I think, in a way, to lower the price of this device from $50 that it was at when it released to now you can get this for like $25 to $30 on AliExpress during their sales. It has gone completely down in price to, I think, to the point where it's now what it should have released at price-wise. But also, I'm just kidding. It wasn't due to my review or myself specifically. I think it had to do with the community just not buying into this. So good job, community. So now, months later, where do we stand on the Miyoo A30? And it's kind of complicated. First, it has gotten so much better to the point where it should have released in this state. This is a much more complete and actual device now that makes it an easy recommend for a lot of people that are looking for a micro device and don't want to spend a lot of money. This is basically exactly what I wanted it to be at launch, and now we're here 3 months later in this state. But the complicated part about this is that Miyoo didn't do anything to deserve the turnaround. The community did. So I'm very conflicted in this one because on the one hand, the device is fine now, everything is good, but Miyoo didn't do anything to change that around, Spruce did, as well as other community developers who all banded together to save this device. But in doing so, we didn't really change anything. We kind of just made Miyoo more money, and they're the ones who released it in this state. So at the end of the day, I'm not sure what I should be happy about, and I'm not sure what I should be angry about, but I'm both. Because look, all we did here was tell manufacturers that it is okay to release a broken device because the community will fix it. And I get that that's been the community MO for years now. We have developers that are very talented who will save devices and make a name for themselves and all that sort of thing. But that's not a good thing. That is just something we've had to do. At some point, the onus has to be put back on the manufacturer to release a complete device. And as of right now, none of what we've done in the last few years, and including this release, has told any manufacturer anything different than release the device in whatever state you want and we will fix it. Sometimes it's okay to just let a device die to prove a point, and that's what I was hoping would happen here, but it didn't. Okay, so rant over, we'll get back on topic here. The Miyoo A30 is now in a much better spot. The Wi-Fi actually works now, thanks to a small firmware update that Miyoo did, and that is the only thing and only contribution that they've had in the last 3 months is this small firmware update that helped fix the Wi-Fi. So now retro achievements work and any other Wi-Fi related activities, although that's kind of it, all work on here. But honestly, the Wi-Fi working is 75% of what I wanted. The other 25% is covered by Spruce, who took this device and really fixed it to the point where games work, the device works, operating system works. Everything just works now, and it makes it a complete device. This is an actual release now. But again, all of this is kind of misleading because nothing is above and beyond here. There isn't anything special in what this is doing. It is just how it should have released at. So we are now here 3 months later with a device that was in an alpha state, now is in a finished state, and it is finally ready and available for purchase at a cheaper price. So what was the point of the last 3 months to anybody who bought it before at a higher price? And there really wasn't anything. There wasn't anything good here. This was a brilliant marketing tactic, and Basically, just release a device in a bare bones state, fix it, and constantly fix it enough that every 2 weeks to a month, there is some sort of fix and the community sees it getting improved. And then you have a final fix and you're finally here and everybody's cheering and happy about it because it is now proper and it's a release. But you didn't do anything. You just brought it up to what it should have been at release. And I call this the No Man's Sky tactic for release because that is the perfect example of who did that. But yeah, months later, I can finally recommend this, and there are still a few issues that I've seen. The battery life still isn't great, especially if you're going to play higher end systems. Some of the lower end systems are fine. It's a few hours or so. It's nothing crazy, but it's good enough for a micro, put it that way. The device still gets significantly warm to hot in that range, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. I got it playing Game Boy. I'm on the home screen right now. It is still warm and hot on the back. It's just a thing with this device. It's going to continue happening. It just gets warm and hot, and it's one of the things you have to live with. Comfort-wise, it's good for a micro, but it's not exceptional overall. It's not going to beat any other bigger horizontals for comfort, of course, but for a micro, it is actually really comfortable, good to use, all that sort of thing. So that's all good still. But again, these are minor complaints. There is really nothing here for $30 to really complain about anymore. It is finally fixed. Now, I've said it before, but a major change since my review is the price. It was at 50-ish US dollars when it came out. It is now available for like 25 to 35 US dollars through AliExpress, through a lot of different sales and all of that. So at those prices, it's a much different handheld and it is finally fixed and good at those prices. There are a lot of cut corners here on parts. For example, the faceplates will rub off and all of that sort of thing. The actual device is a $30 made device. It definitely was never $50. So it's finally at the price point that I think it probably should have been from the start. And we're just here now a few months later. For $35 US and under, there is probably nothing better than this. So it's an easy recommend for that. But obviously there are other micro options, so let's talk about those and how it compares to the Miyoo A30. First up, there is the RG28XX. It is a lot more powerful, and it has much better battery life, and it has much better firmware options, but there's no Wi-Fi, and the D-pad and buttons are infant-sized. So for me, it really does nothing over the A30. Then we have the TrimUI Smart, which has always been my favorite in this category. I think the A30 is a nice upgrade from the Smart now that everything's working. It has a bigger screen, it still has Wi-Fi, and all of that is a nice addition. But I just love the Smart, and I don't see myself replacing it ever. We really need a new Smart, so TrimUI, if you're listening, get on it. New on the block is the Magic X XU Mini. It shares a lot of similarities with the launch A30 in that the software is absolutely atrocious, but hardware-wise, it's pretty decent. I think of all the micros, this is the one that I would use the most if it had Wi-Fi and it had proper software. But as is, it is the least interesting of them all and not one that I'm probably ever going to use. So for me, the tier list goes Miyoo A30, TrimUI Smart, RG28XX, and then the Magic X XU Mini. With the only two that I would actually recommend and purchase being the Miyoo A30 and the TrimUI Smart. Not everybody will agree, and that's okay. Your unhappiness is a risk I am willing to take, but it is my tier list to make. But back to the A30 and let's wrap it up for today. Number one, I am finally glad that I can recommend the A30 and it is in a good spot to be easily recommended for a lot of different people. But I am not happy about the saga that we took to get here. And we kind of just taught manufacturers that it is okay to release broken devices because we will fix it. And that, I think, doesn't help move the hobby forward in all. And I don't think it does anything good for the community either. So we're kind of in the same exact spot that we were before, and nothing has really changed and nothing has gotten better. Just keep releasing devices in whatever state you want and sit back and collect the cash and we'll fix it for you. That's kind of where we're at. But I'm going to continue my quest in trying to improve this because I just don't think that's a great solution. So that's going to be it for this one. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk about all of these retro handhelds. Support me on Patreon if you like my stuff. And Hope you all have a good one.